The DJI Pocket 3 has been a phenomenon in 2024. Yes, it was released in 2023, but they've certainly been flying off the shelves ever since. Since I got mine, to say I've been impressed is an understatement. I've used it for work and my own projects, and even taken it on holiday. But the surprising thing is its versatility. You can use it for anything, and I mean anything. It doesn't come without its faults though, and there's certainly a story to tell about this device 6 months on, the good, the bad, and everything in between. This is my 6 months with the gadget I genuinely can't live without. Welcome back to the channel. I've been trying to post more regular videos these days, as you've been awesome taking the time to watch, and your comments have been, well, fantastic too. So if you like what you see here, drop me a channel sub, and if you have any thoughts on any of the videos that you're seeing, it would be good to hear from you. Now, as I've mentioned, I've had the Pocket 3 for about 6 months or so now, and it's quite the statement when I say it's the piece of kit I can't live without. I could leave the video and move on, job done, but let's just say there's a bit more to it than that. Now, to be honest, this video started out as being a what's it like to take the Pocket 3 on holiday type of story, my experiences, and I guess I'll get onto the holiday bit shortly. However, I think that narrative would have been a bit one-dimensional. I've previously shared my thoughts on the Pocket and how brilliant it is, and if you've not seen that video, I'll leave a link in the description. And I've said it before, this camera has lots of versatility, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. And just to let you know, I work in TV as my day job, recording mainly features for the likes of the BBC, and I also shoot my own features too, here on YouTube. And over the past few months, the Pocket 3 has gradually entered all aspects of my work and life. I've used it on a few occasions to pick up a few extra shots, or simply some behind the scenes, and it's not let me down in that time. Now, I can't sit here and tell you that the Pocket 3 was made for broadcasting work. I'd be lying if I did. But as I'm carrying something like the FX6 with me, the Pocket 3 can be a great camera to accompany it because of its size. And with its superb picture quality, it just really doesn't look out of place. I'm able to double up and get some behind the scenes for the BBC as cutaways, but I can also get some BTS for this channel and these videos, all without any inconvenience to me or the shoot. It's all about offering what you can for the client. For this shoot with Irish rugby legend Johnny Sexton, the BBC just wanted one camera. So for me that meant the FX6 was locked off on a tripod, but just in case it was needed, I added the Pocket 3 for some BTS shots too. And I also added the Insta360 X4 for more behind the scenes. Very simply, it can offer an extra dimension if needed. It's not like charging the BBC for an extra camera, but you're still offering value to the shoot. But I will take the Pocket 3 and the Insta360 X4 on shoots with me just to have them running in the background. The X4 can shoot the whole area, which still blows my mind by the way, but the Pocket 3 can give that extra dimension and show you how I do my shoots for TV. I do get a chance sometimes to spend hours lighting and rigging multi-cameras, but often you just have to get on with it when you only have 10 minutes to set up. So just being able to pick up something like the Pocket 3, all of its settings preset and ready to go, means I can just get a few extra shots. As I mentioned before on this channel, the Pocket 3 has really come in handy on my YouTube shoots too, shooting the box-to-box coffee feature solely on this, and the feedback you gave me was great to see, and many of you have been inspired to try the Pocket 3 for your content too. And on a side note, the DJI Mic 2 integration with the Pocket is flawless. It just makes it easy to create, and that's what modern technology should do. Now, in my last Pocket 3 video, I showed you how easy it was to use on holiday. It was a bit of a test, but that test also came with a bit of fear. Fear because I didn't think I'd be able to get the shots I wanted. Remember, the camera only has a fixed 20mm lens, no zoom. Well, it has a digital zoom, but the quality isn't good enough for me. And on my Sony cameras, I really love the 24-70 or 28-75 focal lengths. That range, I believe, is the sweet spot for most tasks. So you can see the dilemma. How on earth am I going to do without that versatility of shot? How am I going to do without that nice punchy 75mm zoom? But to my surprise, I didn't really miss out on the zoom range at all. I instead found myself adapting to the 20mm lens. I guess you could say I was getting as creative as I could. Let me know what you think of these shots and if you shoot like this when you're on vacation, but being biased here, chroma has never looked so good. Now, I did think while I was at this location I should use a zoom lens to get the shots I was missing, so out came the Sony a7 IV with the 70-200 lens, and don't get me wrong, these pictures do look great. By the way, the a7 IV is so underrated when it comes to video. I've used it more for my BBC shoots over the last 6 months, and for me it really does have a flawless look. However, I don't think the pictures really add much to the holiday story. Yes, they're a bonus, but they're not vital. So it's good to know that regardless of the situation, you can make the best of what you have. Although it's good to have drone footage, I always think the eye in the sky can give great context as to where you are. Then when you hit the location on the ground, the Pocket 3 does its magic and gets those lovely B-roll shots of the landmarks in Little Walsingham. So with this knowledge, what can we take from it? Well, the Pocket 3 has a great picture quality, especially when shot in D-Log-M and graded later. These shots are graded with Dehancer Pro, link in the description, but when we're forced to adapt, we always can. I remember having many Sony camcorders in the past, and they all had good zoom lenses, but the picture quality was never the best. Granted, in those days, it was before HD. And there are times when we do need zoom lenses, but when I didn't have one on this trip, I just made do. I got creative and was still able to tell the story and capture my shots. So I think that can be a lesson to us all. Now, I previously mentioned I've had the Pocket for 6 months or so, but what accessories do I use? And do they all need to be flash and expensive? Well, here are my top 5 accessories for the DJI OSMO Pocket 3, and there's one or two that might surprise you. First up is the DJI Mic 2. This really does make shoots so simple. Just hook them up with the Pocket 3 and the camera will capture that audio. Whilst the Mic 2 will also be recording 32-bit float internally. And you can also ask the Pocket to record the backup track, which is from the internal microphones too. All options are covered. Number 4. To get the best picture quality, you'll need to have ND filters. This sensor is very sensitive and it's a fixed f2 aperture, and you'll want to keep control of the shutter speed, so NDs are crucial. I got these from Amazon and they do the trick, but regardless of the brand, you need to get ND filters. At number 3, the extended battery handle is a must. And yes, the internal battery can last a little while, but I shoot everything in 4K, including the slow motion. The battery gets drained quite quickly, so this will give you more than double the battery life. And you can also plug in headphones into the USB-C port for those times you wish to monitor the audio. At 2, don't scrimp on an SD card. I bought the SanDisk 256GB Extreme Pro and it hasn't let me down. It also gives me more than 6 hours in 4K 25p or just over 4 hours at 4K 100 frames per second. More than enough for shooting multiple projects. Now, at number 1, this might surprise you, but one of the accessories I really value is the case that the camera actually comes in, because it has 2 purposes. One, to protect the gimbal, because these cameras are actually quite fragile, so I always store it in it when it's in my camera bag. But if you turn it upside down, you can use it as an extended grip, and that way you can get more control over the camera, which, with a camera being this small, you want as much control over it as possible. So in my opinion, to have it in the box when you buy it, well then, use it. Now, I've had a number of comments in previous videos saying you don't need the Pocket, just use your phone. And to be honest, that's a very good point. Both Apple and Android phones produce great images. But for me, the Pocket 3 is a video first device. It's made purely for video, and if you set it up correctly, it's very plug and play. For example, I was at a press conference at Manchester City for the BBC. I used the FX6 with the Sony 70-200 lens and a bit of clear image zoom to get tight in. And I wanted to get a couple of clips of BTS to show you, so I got my phone out. But as you can see, the image was a little overexposed and I had to pull the exposure down. I used the Blackmagic app for video on the iPhone to control the settings manually. Now, if it was me just shooting with the iPhone without any other cameras, that wouldn't have been an issue. But the FX6 is my priority, and changing settings on the app on the phone just wasn't on my mind. So it was an extra step, and I didn't need that at that moment. On the other hand, the Pocket 3 just worked. The variable ISO was set, and I was able to get these shots without thinking. It may only be a small thing, but the Pocket 3 just works, well, out of the pocket. So as we come to the close of this look at the Pocket 3, I think it's important to mention that it's not perfect. No cameras are perfect. But the big take from this video, I would suggest, is about flexibility. Not the flexibility in the technology, but in ourselves, how we shoot a situation and what the technology can offer us. So simply working with what we have rather than what we don't. The DJI OSMO Pocket 3 is a 4K powerhouse in such a tiny body. The images out of it still blow me away, even now 6 months on, and there's still a lot for me to learn about it, and if we're using technology correctly, we're always learning. But this camera is fast becoming important to how I shoot. Will it ever replace my Sony cameras? Well, the answer's no, but I can offer more to my clients at the last minute. And I can also create these videos for you. So, in essence, it's a camera I don't think I can live without.